And I think we're up whenever you're ready.
Call to order. Roll call.
Commissioner Cuthbertson,
Yes.
Commissioner D'Alessandro? No. Commissioner Khan? No. Commissioner Hassler, myself, I'm here, and Chairperson Gonzalez.
Here.
Okay, we have a quorum.
Any quorum?
Right.
Nope.
So I think we're good.
Okay. Okay. Public comments on the agenda items? Any public comments?
None?
Did not receive any.
Okay. So we'll continue. Everyone say, oh,
Yep.
hello. Public comments on non-agenda items?
I have a public comment.
Okay.
Just if you please state your name.
I'm Natalie Kramer. I am the owner of the Salon Society. We just opened our business not too long ago, 115 South Villa. That is in the downtown corridor. Sorry, there's a lot of stairs. So I went to the village meeting in February, just asking about the 30-minute parking along the downtown area on the, I believe that's the west side of the street. And the president let me know that you guys would be speaking about it today. So I spent the day talking to the other businesses in the area, just trying to get a feel for the corridor and what is working for, everybody around us. What I consistently heard on the north end of the corridor, which is like more brewing, and that side, which is the side that we are on, they believe that 30-minute feels too short. Most of them are service industry. So we have a facialist, we have interior design, we have a marketing, and all of them said that their clients stay definitely over 30 minutes. And most said that they would agree, or they would say that having both sides 3 hours would be more consistent. And I did talk to More Brewing, who's actually, on that side of the street. And they said that a lot of the times people they park there, and then they ask if it's going to be enforced. And they let them know, the sign says 30 minutes, and then they'll get up from their table and go move their car. So I did talk to a couple other businesses on the south end of the street, and those are a little bit more of the fast pace, right? Like there's a coffee shop, there's a pizza place, more of that pick up and go. So I believe that 30 minutes makes more sense to them, especially because their public parking lot by the Metro is still open, where ours is under construction right now. So I would just like to, speak on behalf of the businesses and just let you guys know what, the word is on the street, and just offer, our perspectives. So, I think anything is better than 30 minutes. But the owner of Villa Perk did say, if not 30 minutes, if maybe considering like a 20 or 15 minute, 10 minute like loading zone type of thing for earlier in the day, or, where those businesses that are getting that fast clientele would be. So that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
What did you say your name was? I'm sorry.
Natalie Kramer.
Natalie Kramer? Thank you, Natalie.
My card if you'd like to spell.
I just didn't catch it. And you said Salon
The Salon Society?
Society. Okay, Natalie.
Thank you.
I have a question. Is that for Natalie?
Yeah.
Are you new to this Villa Avenue?
Yes.
Okay,
We just opened February 6th.
okay,
And since we've opened, 3 of my clients and my electrician have received tickets.
Oh,
The tickets are for $75 as well. So, you know, it's
okay,
like for a parking violation, that's kind of, but obviously that's the law.
okay. Thank you. Anything else? So is that considered non-agenda? Okay.
Yeah, the non-agenda is usually open for anything, so.
Okay, just wanted to be sure.
They could speak on agenda or non-agenda.
Okay, so, any more, public comments on non-agenda items? No? Okay. Moving on, amendments to the agenda? Any amendments? No? Let's do an approval of the minutes. Approval of January 21st and,
I'll move to approve the minutes of the January 21st and February 18th Plan Commission meetings.
I second it.
okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Any unfinished business? A discussion of, I'm sorry,
Sorry.
okay. Discussion on possible alternative parking options for the Terrace Alley Improvement Project. Have there been the village is planning to improving the Terrace Alley from Ardmore to Princeton to allow for a greater access for the properties, to the properties. This project will impact the properties at 8, 12, 16, and 20 West Terrace, as the available parking will be decreased to allow for the construction of the alley. This discussion is to discuss possible options to offset the loss of parking at these properties. Is there any discussion of that?
I can provide an update. So based after the last meeting, staff has gone and under some of the suggestions, have reviewed the locations. One of the options was to talk with the business owner that has a little strip mall to the north of maybe utilizing some of that parking in partnership, like overnight. That business owner declined. He didn't want to go down that route. He was in favor of the construction of the alley being improved as in disrepair and it needs to be improved. So that kind of goes back to the different options of parking, either allowing overnight parking on Terrace Avenue, which would be a code modification. We need an ordinance to change the code to allow for that parking overnight in that section, or to look at the Metra lot, parking lot to allow overnight parking on a permit basis. Talking with staff, I kind of went through and I was going to try to have a big meeting, but unfortunately with my schedule, I kind of did one-on-ones. The fire department said there is enough room if parking is on Terrace for them to get through, so that they are kind of neutral and it doesn't impact their operations. Community Development, Public Works would prefer the parking, if we allow it to be in the Metro lot, just so that it doesn't impede other operations with street sweeping, snow plowing for Public Works. Obviously, we have issues with rodents in that area, so that would kind of help alleviate some of the trash buildup. Public Works does have, or the village does have funding to pretty much improve Ardmore from North Avenue all the way down to Roosevelt. That's being programmed in, I think, 28 and 29. So enhanced pedestrian access across the street at Terrace was, I know Commissioner D'Alessandro had some concerns. We could look at further improving that as part of that project, knowing that some temporary measures would need to go in place if parking in the Metro lot moves forward. I think community developments prefer the Metro lot just so that it kind of conforms, they can kind of keep zoning conform in reality, so that we won't have other locations kind of requesting, because we do have multiple properties in town that have multi-residents in with limited parking. But that being said, that was just some of the discussions. And then we thought the Metro lot has already permit parking allowed through the parking program, that it would just be an add-on into that program. But looking at the other location, you know, that there is width for parking to get through. I know Sergeant Hyman has reviewed the location. He took a video the other night of what it kind of looks like in back, and it's very crowded, which we can show. We won't show it, we won't broadcast it over YouTube just for privacy's sake, in case any license plates got hit. But if you want to see that, we can pull that up on the big screen. But that's kind of an update from the last one. We kind of went back out and looked at a few different things, but it's up to discussion of the commission.
Has it ever been checked if there was a different way of putting the parking, like on an angle? Would they be able to fit more cars? Would they to change the actual logistics of that parking lot to make it more suitable to fit more cars?
Yeah, unfortunately, how
Direction of the,
their lots are being kind of rectangular and square. We looked at possible different layouts for their back parking, and it's pretty limited because of, the width of the lot is pretty narrow.
it's a little bit of a hike to get to the Metro lot if you live there.
Correct.
It's like a block, to park your car at the Metro lot and then walk home on your apartment, to your apartment. So I drove around there a few times just to see what they're dealing with, and I was like, it just seemed like it's a little distance for them to have to go to a Metro lot to park their cars.
Yeah.
And go across Ardmore also, too.
Yeah, our only concern was that we have multiple locations in
Yeah.
town that have similar, and then will that open up lower locations of people requesting then overnight parking to be allowed in front of their locations.
But the alley will be bigger.
The alley would go through to actually allow access. If we want, I can probably pull up the video.
Yeah,
The video kind of shows, like, it's overly crowded currently in the back.
Yeah.
And that's just going to be exaggerated a little bit more, but personally, I don't know, based on the video that Sergeant Hyman shared with me, like how they get in and out at night, because it is very tight as it is currently laid out. The alley would actually increase the flow of traffic through there to keep it more open.
Okay, that's a good option, but
But I can.
I liked your idea about the garbage cans. Just why can't they change the code on the garbage cans? Wouldn't that be cheaper, too?
The garbage cans, it's more than,
Yeah, sorry,
it would be 36 cans, I think I counted up, that would need to be out there, which would take up the entire curb length, because each one would need solid waste and recycling. Each unit having 5 to 6 units, there's that, now you're up to about 30. I think the first 2 units have 6 units, the other 2 have 5, so that's 22 units times 2 cans.
how many of the dumpsters do they have right now that they're all sharing? 2, 3?
No, each apartment building is required to have their own dumpster
Okay.
per code.
Unfortunately, the parkway in the front wouldn't really
It would be conducive.
facilitate garbage cans. They'd end up actually having to put them on the street because the parkway's got a heavy, steep angle to it.
I apologize, I meant to load.
No,
this
that's
before I got
okay.
here.
It's
Sorry
okay.
about me.
I know I've been by there several times looking at all possibilities.
It's like,
Just,
oh, like these
it's-
poor people have
it's
to
a
go across the
double-edged sword
street
no
and
matter
park
what
in a
you do.
Metro lot because they're apartment buildings.
I know I thought about, because even it's angled parking along the building, but it's straight parking on the north side.
Why-
Maybe
If they had more
angle, it
angled
might be a
parking,
little space,
perhaps,
but
even like on Villa,
really
maybe if they put
won't.
more angled parking instead of all, just different options for parking.
Yeah, sorry.
That's okay.
Clarification.
It was just a thought that I felt bad for these people going across the street.
Understood.
Well,
this computer.
No, I'm going to,
I can put it on a flash drive. I don't think.
Well, in the meantime, Mike, do
Yeah, you guys can.
you have any idea when they were, if they were going to fix do the alley, do they have a possible start date, or?
Yes, so we have that set to be ready to go out to bid. And in like 3 weeks, if the plans are being finalized,
Okay,
and we'll have the specs and things ready for the bid process to be in about 1 month. We could open bids on April, which would allow probably late May start of construction. Early June.
is there any time frame does anyone has proposed how long it might take, or?
We believe the construction would probably take, I would say safely 2 months, just to be on the safe end, playing with weather, those sort of things, because there's a couple trees that would have to be removed, you would have some excavation, concrete pours and those sort of things. So we anticipate about 2 months of construction.
Okay.
Hopefully,
if the guests don't need to see it, I can bring this up to the commissioners and they can watch it here if you'd like.
yeah, I think I'll have to pull it up.
Is that the terrace?
Yeah. Are you able to see that?
Yes.
Yes.
You too?
Yeah.
Okay. So are they utilizing angle and straight parking out there? They got,
Well,
looks like
I see
they have,
they've got them turned,
I can pull up my computer, it's on, yeah.
You got it now?
No, it downloaded all the files, but it didn't download the JPEG. So, yeah.
and on, what time of day was this? You say it's like 10:09 PM or something?
Correct. Yeah, that was like February 19th.
Yeah.
So I guess to clarify, the project itself is there's parking, right now they're using both sides next to the buildings and then along the right edge there where the video's facing.
Correct.
Project would not remove the parking next to the buildings, just the parking on the right where the, on the right of this video, yeah, north side,
Correct,
north
yeah.
side, yeah.
Like right there where like
Because
the power pole is, that's about the
Okay.
north edge.
Because that's going to be a through alley now, so you can't park on the.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And so, yeah, all the parking along the north edge would be eliminated as part of the,
How many spots is that?
for,
That will be eliminated?
I have it in my memo. So,
It's,
8 West Terrace would lose 2 parking stalls, and 12 West would lose 2 parking stalls. However, 8 and 12 are owned by the same owner, and there's enough parking around the remainder of the properties to account for all of his parking. He just loses a couple options. 16 and 20 West lose 4 each, which is half of their number of stalls.
So you don't want to live in 16 and 20? Wow,
And then
okay.
the 333 North Princeton, which is at the end, probably will not affect, it will affect his parking temporarily, just because the construction will kind of butt up against his edge. And so we may have to make concessions during that time. But however, during construction, it is village policy to suspend overnight parking for like capital improvement projects during the time of the project. So at the time the project would go on, we would notify the police department, or Public Works would notify the police department. They usually issue that information to the officers, and we kind of suspend overnight parking restrictions in approved locations around the project locations, knowing that they can't get to the back no matter what, because it's all going to be tore up, or it's going to be concrete at the time of pours, it's going to be closed, so it's suspended. So it would need to be at the completion is kind of the issue. We could not ever get a hold of 16 West Terrace, that property owner, after multiple attempts. So we have not made contact with that property owner, but all other property owners we made contact with.
Are they getting any mailings about it, 16, or, I mean, you're
Yes,
contacting them?
we did send letters and followed up with phone calls
Okay.
with
But
records that we have for
But they haven't responded?
community development. Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you.
so if we consider this, the Metra parking lot option, mentioned temporary pedestrian accommodations across Ardmore. I mean, I know in the permanent solution, it's going to be a little more, there'll be a more in-depth study and a little more detailed design. Well, was there any, I guess, was there any specific details discussed as far as what those temporary accommodations might look like?
My thought would be as a crosswalk to be installed across the northern side of Terrace, so it kind of lines up to be a little bit farther off of the train tracks. And then would probably look at what we call RRFBs, or the rectangular rapid flashing beacons, that could be activated, similar to the ones that we've installed along all the trail crossings. You press the button, the lights light up to give indication that there's a pedestrian crossing. Like I said, we are looking at enhancing improvements in that area. To be honest, some of that was delayed with the understanding that we thought the project on the corner was going to be going sooner. But we've noticed, well, I've noticed, is with the Metro train sometimes drops people off in the middle of Ardmore. Depending on what track they're on, different things. So enhanced pedestrian crossings need to be looked at there, no matter what. With the design of that. I believe we're looking at hosting public input meetings for the Ardmore project, which is the complete corridor, but those will be scheduled sometime mid-June, is when those will be scheduled to have public input meetings on that project.
Okay. Sorry, one more. Left turn from southbound Ardmore to Terrace is still allowed currently, right?
I believe so.
That was just that new project that would restrict that. So that being said, I guess I would, I'd like to maybe see what the difference between crossing on the north side of Terrace. I know it's a better alignment for pedestrian traffic, but then you're crossing 3 lanes of traffic in the left turn lane versus going closer to the tracks and having the island as a refuge. Obviously, you'd need to do a curb cut to open that up, but I just didn't know if that would be an advantage over the other option. At least just for consideration here by staff.
Yeah, we can take a look at that. Like I said, it was a kind of a cursory kind of review of knowing that pedestrian enhancements need to be done, but
Yeah, understood.
if we weren't going to go into the Metro lot, then you know, if that
Yeah,
was
that
not to be the recommendation, we didn't want to go, but
Understood, thank you.
there would be, yeah, we would need to, on the north side, at bare minimum, we need to add a ramp, curb cuts on both sides of the intersection as well. Let me look at the island. There's some restrictions in terms of proximity and different stuff, but that's something we can take a look at and
Yeah,
get back
understood.
to the
Yeah, thank
commission on.
The whole reason for making this go all the way through is to facilitate the garbage company so they can come and pick up the dumpsters without having to back out of the area? Was that the whole reason for that? I know it needs to be improved. I mean, there's some huge craters in there,
Yeah.
but
It's been needing to be improved for a little bit. We are looking at going all the way through to provide better access. Lately, what had occurred in the last several months is the garbage trucks saying that they cannot get access to 16 West Terrace and 20 West Terrace because of some of the parking. And so they stop attempting to go back there, and that's led to
Rodents.
garbage overflow, those sort of things, which has caused other problems. I think safety-wise, like as the video shown by Sergeant Hyman, it's pretty tight. So if there's anything occurring in the back, we're kind of stuck. And then, to be honest, I'm not quite sure why it was never fully constructed all the way through, way back when, at the time. Additionally, I believe, talking with and the strip mall owner, there is a little bit of drainage issues. We do have drains back there, but with the condition of the existing parking lots and alley, I don't think all the water gets to the drains, so they do have some standing water every once in a while in the back.
Well, when they address that, would they address that when they redo the alley then? They'll
Yes.
put that into the,
I put the preliminary plans that we have pretty much drawn up to date, in the plan. So yes, the alley would be constructed, we're looking at probably going full concrete. And then what we've done is, whatever other alleys that we've done, we usually make the alleys inverted, so they are kind of reverse V, with like a 1-inch little channel down the middle of the alley to ensure that the drainage goes down to the drains.
okay.
have we by chance touched base with whoever the garbage, is it the same garbage contractor for all of the units?
Unfortunately, no.
I was just wondering if there were other options for size, shape, type of dumpsters that we may not be thinking about, that they may have more information about.
That's what I said
that
last time.
might
If they're
help
taller
save a little
dumpsters,
bit
or
of
different
space.
style of dumpsters. Yeah. And so when you said just now that there's more than one garbage company, are they all complaining or just one of them about not getting to the garbage?
The biggest issue came with 20 West Terrace. They've had a really hard time. They try to work, both of them said with 333 North Terrace, or Princeton, I'm sorry, and 20, is they actually try to get them to come reverse through the other property to reach their garbage can. So they put it on the back edge of theirs so that they could reach across. Part of the issue we found out talking with some of them is that the Comcast lines and some of the power lines are low. And so with the new garbage trucks that lift overhead, that becomes an issue. When we redo the alley, obviously, we have some ComEd relocations and stuff, and we can force Comcast to make sure they meet the minimum requirements, because now it's a pass-through alley, that they have to be, I believe, over 13 feet above overhead to go through. So I think it's a combination of, there's a lot of cars parked back there. I know during the day, I think there's several cars parked back there. And as you can see in the video, it becomes very tight in that area.
Side question, officer, with these cars that are parked back there, do you watch for ones that never move, cars that don't move? Or, I mean, is there something like that where the tenants would say, this car is there forever?
Unfortunately, since it's private parking, private
can't.
property, yeah. If it became an alley and people parked, when we put the through alley through, if anybody parks back there, now they're blocking a public way.
It's just something I
Then
thought
the
of.
police department could remove that vehicle. With it being kind of private parking, it falls more on community development to see about an enabled vehicle being stored. But we believe if it's licensed, can be.
Yeah, we have not received any specific complaints about inoperable vehicles being parked in that area. We can definitely put it on our radar to check, but I don't necessarily believe that that would fix the issue that we're having here, because the cars still need a resting place, whether it be in the parking spaces on the street or in the Metro lot.
I suppose that would be somebody that lived in those apartments would be a complaint from them, not from you investigating. It would probably be a complaint that
Yeah,
you...
we haven't had any
Heard that more
reason to
than
go
once.
over there and check,
Yeah.
but we can definitely put it on our radar to keep an eye on for it, yes.
Yeah, if someone's mentioning it to you.
Yeah.
I guess so.
I have a question. Not, it might help just a little bit, but it's not going to answer for the issue. But if we're going through this construction, is there any consideration for getting ComEd, Comcast, AT&T to bury their service rather than overhead right at that point in time, since it's already under construction?
We can request, I would just say from experience, usually if they have it overhead, unless there's a reason, they require payment to go underground. Just because all their utility connects right now are from overhead service, so then they'd have to reverse all their, like, meters and stuff at the houses to then go underground,
right.
those sort of things, so it doesn't fall under our franchise agreement unless we can force it for certain reasons, and that it would be a charge to make that move from overhead to underground. Otherwise, I'd say we would love to get ComEd and Comcast to do a lot in a lot of locations.
Motion to move on to the new business?
I guess I just had one more comment, and this
Okay.
is more of a comment than a question, at this point. I still don't know that I'm ready to make a final call on this issue. I understand the need for the project, and I support that. I understand the desire not to have on-street parking at this location and this location only, because then it creates a lot of other issues. I'm just, it does seem rather burdensome to have to, walk that far. Not that, people in the cities don't have to walk far for their property, but, yeah, I guess I just want to make sure that, that there are safe accommodations to make it across, and maybe, if we had more time, I'd say let's even try it as a pilot program to see if it's working, if there's any issues. But I guess from this point, I don't know that I'm ready to make a decision, but I would be leaning more towards the Metro lot if it wasn't as far away as it is. Because if I'm not mistaken, it's the lot on the north side, the other side of Beverly, correct?
Yes, I think
Side of Beverly?
the other combination we could probably look at is what was planned with the bigger project was to eliminate the 15-minute drop-off zone and convert that to actually parking stalls along the sidewalk, if that makes sense. That was kind of independent, but that was part of their improvements that would need to be made with that project.
Right, but those would still be public parking spots, the once that's done, right?
Yes, but
Yeah,
I
no.
think that could be locations that could be considered for
And the ones that are
resident
losing,
parking,
I'm
or
sorry, I
maybe
didn't
we
mean
could
to interrupt.
restrict those to
Yeah, or
resident
50,
parking.
drop, or whatever, drop off during the day, and then at night, they can be the pass parking or permit parking.
The ones that are losing the most parking spaces are 16 and 20, and they're further west. And so if they're the ones that would end up having to go to the Metro lot, they're walking like at least 2 blocks. I mean, when you go across, you gotta cross all those buildings and then past that store, and then go across Ardmore and get to a parking lot to park your car for where you live. I don't know, just, it seems like, right, they're the two that will lose the most.
Correct.
8 spots they'll lose? If there's any concession with when they do the alley setup, there could be no agreement to finding a parking solution also during the construction of the alley?
During the construction of the alley, if we fall
if you-
under the typical policy, they could park on the street overnight since they.
No, I meant like when it's being built.
Or
can-
as part of it.
Can they put it as part of it, some kind of parking still? I mean, I don't know. in the alley plans.
Unfortunately, the alley's only 12 feet.
So it's not gonna
12 to
work.
14 feet
Okay,
wide.
that was what I was asking. It's-
Sorry.
That's, no, I understand what you're saying. That
Sorry, I
my-
was thinking of the.
No, that was my question. I mean,
Yeah,
there would
the-
be no way to even squeeze in more parking spaces when they reconstruct an alley there.
Yeah, and
Okay,
for alleys, we try to keep the pavement to the minimum needed for a one-way travel, which is
Okay.
about 12 feet. This one might be about 14, knowing that some delivery trucks for the business or the garbage trucks,
right.
unfortunately, but yes, there's not a whole lot of room on either side. We try to keep it to a minimum.
Okay.
Does the village own does the village actually own this space?
Yes.
On the north side?
It's all platted right away.
It'd be a little bit more to walk, but if they lined all the dumpsters up in just those couple of spots right there, that would maybe refrain from them losing so many spots at 16 and 20? And maybe just see if we can get the dumpsters lined up, each one of them right there on that edge?
Yeah, I would only caution that trying to work with all the different property owners, they don't seem to get along.
Yeah,
So that's kind of become a little bit of an issue with our discussions with them, is that there is,
I had family members that lived in 16, so I'm very familiar with,
and so when we've talked about some of these partnering aspects, that they didn't seem as willing at this point, not saying that it's forever, it's just, at this point, most of them didn't seem to, some of them would work with each other, obviously, the one on the corner and 20 have worked to try to get the dumpster at 20 dump, because that is the same company, they do utilize the same company, and then I think the ones on the end use a different company.
but it's definitely code, though, that each unit has to have its own dumpster. You couldn't have one big dumpster for all of them. If you got the tenants to go together and say, hey, look,
Okay.
use one contractor, one dumpster possibly, and it will save you
Private agreement again.
loss of parking
always change.
spaces.
That could be,
But they would have to get together, and I know not all the tenants, or not all the owners probably get along that well.
I can look into it, yeah, per the code, it's, you have to provide, solid waste for your property, and that's the thing. I can talk with community development, I'm sure, is it possible? I would say probably anything's possible, we just have to make
Just say
like a code change or something.
Change, right, some type of, right.
How many exemptions
But I
in the
mean, a
code.
bigger dumpster, and each unit is allowed so many % of it or something, and if they're emptying it on a regular basis, but then they would all have to get together and use the same garbage company for the one dumpster, and that would save them the spaces, but I hate to see them losing spaces, but there's no easy answer to this.
And staff recognizes that that there's no clean
But I say-
answer.
I mean, if you had one big dumpster, you can put it on the far east end, and that would give it access to one garbage company to.
They'd probably be
Up and
complaining
remove.
they have to walk far for the garbage.
Right. You know what, walking far for the garbage versus walking 2 blocks to
For your
the-
car.
You know, I'm just picturing it snowing, raining,
Yeah.
freezing, 15 below out. I just couldn't picture, you
And when
know,
you
one of
get there,
these
you
days
gotta
you get
clean
off
off
work,
your
you just
car.
don't feel good, your feet are killing you, and you gotta walk that far home. I mean, it's the only logical thing to do, but it's, you know, we gotta,
I would say the only other, sorry, I forgot to mention this, the fire department said if parking is allowed on Terrace, they would ask for the recommendation to be on the south side along the tracks, to provide, emergency access on the north side. So if they have a call, then they're not trying to go between parked cars on the north side to get to the buildings. So,
would that be done by assigned parking spot, numbered parking spots assigned to the apartment complex?
It might be.
if you're going to the street, I think the recommendation from staff would be that we could put up signs that says parking for residents at these locations, but we probably would not do like a permit because of just the amount of time and personnel and problems.
I'm just picturing people, you know, running to the Metro lot or something and you taking up those spaces. And I'm just, you know, trying to reserve those for the residents. in some
During
way,
the
shape,
day,
or
that's
form.
open anyway. It's open parking anyway, isn't it? Or well, on the north side, sorry.
I thought,
That's good, sorry.
Yeah, during the day, there's street parking there already. Oh, there's probably a 2-hour limit or something.
But if they're going to give them those designated spots, they would be their designated
I know there's
spots
a lot
for
of parkway,
day
but I
and
think
night.
the railroad
correct?
owns that parkway.
Understand,
on the
yeah.
south
Yeah,
side.
I'm only clarifying.
Right, I understand. I guess I was just less concerned about the Metra, because it's, this is for overnight.
Correct, I believe on the north side, parking, is just no parking from 7 AM to 9 AM. So I could have made probably a current map of,
It's okay.
All right.
We got a lot of nice
Yep.
maps here.
I know, I kind of feel like we're kind of going a little round and round, but.
Okay,
I guess before, from my perspective, one more thing before we, wrap up is, I guess, we can't sit on this forever, but I don't want to make a rash decision. I guess I'd ask for, a little more detail in the pedestrian accommodation, or at least possible pedestrian accommodations. I don't need a schematic or anything, just, some bullet points at Ardmore. And I thought I had something else, but I can't think of it, so that'll be it for now, for me.
yeah, staff we can take a look and look at that, and if there's any possible redesign or something on those spots closest to them to be more designated to be reserved for.
For residents. I think that's only going to be the only logical thing we can possibly do, even though it'll impede on snow plowing and things like that, and street cleaning and stuff. I think we're going to have to take our lumps with that a little bit.
But yes, in terms of, I know right now the Metro's not very busy. Unfortunately, I came right at COVID, so I never saw the Metro lots when it was overflowing. I've heard stories. But yes, I think to answer your questions, it's both north and south side have no parking from just 7 AM to 9 AM. And I'm assuming that was probably made for the Metro accommodations so that people wouldn't park there for Metro at the times when the lots used to overflow. And then you're correct, our right-of-way ends, I believe, at the fence line.
Actually, I think part of that parkway is actually railroad. But, and we wouldn't be able to do any bumps or anything like that to give parking. It'd just have to be exactly where it is, on the curb.
Correct,
There's not enough room.
there's not enough room between the existing fence and the curb to provide any poly bump ins at those locations.
I think one of the thought processes is to allow accessibility for the residents for some of those spaces to try and offset what they're going to lose in the back. Unfortunately, there's no easy answer for this.
And I would say
motion.
our staff's other concern, I'd say community development's concern would be if we allow parking on the street in front of them, does everybody just park on the street first? And then parking behind would be secondaries when there's no spots on the street versus everybody parking back and only park in the street if needed. But we can work on getting some of those answers, some of the questions from the commission for the next meeting.
You say you have a hard time getting hold of the owner of Building 16?
I believe that's the only one we have not met with, yes.
Do we know if that's the same owner that's been there for the past 8 or 10 years?
I would have to verify with community development.
Okay, I was just trying to think of a contact point. Like I say, I had family members that used to live in that building, so they might have a number or a name of somebody.
I'll let you know.
Okay, thank you.
I guess if you'll entertain a motion, I'll move to continue this item to the next meeting for further discussion.
Okay, motion accepted. I'll say aye.
Second.
I'll second it.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 7, new business, and I think this is what our friend was here about. Parking restrictions on Villa Avenue for Old Town Business District. To review the current parking restrictions on Villa Avenue and to provide any possible recommendations or modifications to the area. This request is to examine the current parking restrictions along Villa Avenue and to see if they should be updated to meet the current village and surrounding businesses' needs as there have been several changes to the area. So, anyone have any comments about that?
Yes. As this changes and as the construction goes, this is going to be a constantly changing situation. I think it'd be kind of rough to chisel something in stone right at this moment, because this is going to change day by day. On what's good on one day, a week from now may be something different. And I do understand the concerns of some of the businesses on the time limits too. I mean, for 30 minutes, if you're going to go in and dine or have a salon or something, that is awfully,
Very tight window.
yeah, that is extremely tight. I say this is going to be a constant evolving situation.
Well, and if we're going to get new businesses coming and we don't want any new businesses to not be interested in having their businesses with us just because of a certain parking restrictions. So,
Yeah, and I do think opening up some of the limits in this area would also potentially push people to the parking spots we've been talking about for the last couple of meetings, about encouraging people to use, so, I see some potential benefit there.
What was the actual initial reason why we're looking at reducing the time and putting a time limit on? What was the first?
For the ones on Park?
Yes.
On
On Villa.
well, on Villa,
On Villa, we weren't looking at decreasing them. I believe this was based on recommendations from some businesses have come in with the changes. The other look is currently, yes, the big Metro lot, the publicly owned lot is under construction as part of the union and will not come back online for 18 to 24 months. So I think it was more of, there's currently, there should be a map,
Yeah.
hopefully in yours, that shows all the different parking restrictions. I didn't expand it out past this area, but currently there's 3 different parking restrictions within that corridor, with the west side being 30-minute parking, the east side being 3 hours, except we do have one 15-minute parking stall in front of the 207, 211 building. I believe the last time this was updated was in 2020, about April and May of 2020, where some of those changes were made in terms of changing the different hours. However, at that time, the businesses were different. 8K Mulch, I think, was just previously sold to the village. You did have Pioneer Seed, Feed and Seed, Moore, and a few other businesses, so that has kind of changed. I think talking with some staff, and Sergeant Hyman can verify for me, but as an enforcement, it's kind of difficult having this many different parking time zones in that quarter, because we use CSOs, correct, to kind of do the parking enforcement, so they have other duties, so they're just not driving up and down this area all the time. And so I believe the recommendation of having just one consistent timing zone would be preferred by the village. The amount of that time, I think, would be at the discretion of the recommendation of the commission. To build on it, we also are looking at redesigning and updating the, what we call the museum parking lot, which is a public parking lot. We actually have some concept drawings that will be presented at the next plan commission of a few options to get public comment and the commission's opinion on some different options, as we're looking at trying to enhance that parking lot to make it operate a little bit more efficiently, make it a little bit more attractive, and make it actually look like a public parking lot versus just a big paved lot.
Understood.
What would be the downside to making it, because I see on the east side of the street, we have 3-hour parking, and on the west side of the street, we have 30-minute parking. What would be the downside to making it 3-hour parking on both sides? I'm just trying to,
I don't see a downside, but that's just me personally.
I don't see a downside either, and it seems like some of the businesses that are on the west side of Villa Avenue would need more than 30 minutes compared to like the east side. Well, I guess
it'd make it uniform across, you know,
Yeah, the
same,
east side of Villa Avenue.
same rules on both sides of the street. And, but originally it was, some of the
Where's the
businesses wanted the
15-minute
30-minute, and I'm just trying to understand the reason why.
15
I'm
minutes.
sure there's something I'm overlooking here, not understanding, and I don't want to miss something.
Since this was my very first time at the village, I know there was a lot of discussion and different considerations at the time when those were made. That's kind of my understanding.
You said it's maybe from 2020? I mean, when did Moore Brewery come around to?
Marbury came in before that, but yeah.
Okay.
A lot of these parkings were, like, we restricted parking on the south side of Wildwood in 2020 and flipped it to the north side. And I know some of these 30 minutes, 3 hours, the 15 minutes all came in under that same ordinance, I believe, in 2020.
But once again, as this territory changed and evolved, it's different, the needs of the businesses are different now.
I don't know, Eric, if you had any background from the previous time we've changed these? I don't know if you were on.
I don't,
Yeah,
this is
don't be clear on the
some,
spot.
this didn't go through traffic and safety at that time. That was done,
Correct, I believe that was done straight through the. board.
right, too. I mean, to me, this is confusing. One side's this amount, the other side's this amount. Why not just make it 3 hours on both sides?
And if that was to happen, how
Keep it
how
simple.
quickly would that be able to be enforced if they decided?
If you make the recommendation would go on to the village board, which would probably be the first meeting in April, with first or second, pending on how they wish to do. I think if we get the recommendation, the meeting in April for the board's consideration. If the board approves it, then that could be enacted 10 days after the passage of the ordinance. So I'd say it becomes active under code after 10 days. Then Public Works staff would just have to go out and flop out the signs that say
Change the signs.
30-minute parking to 3-hour parking.
Okay.
And I guess I'll just have one more comment, and I'm not hearing any downsides at the moment of this, and to Commissioner Cuthbertson's point from earlier, this is a kind of a dynamic situation with the development and construction. So eventually, when additional public spots open up, at the Union, I think 90, is what that.
Correct.
was?
The union will have 90 locations.
Okay.
Additionally, we are supposed to be receiving grant funding at some point in time to expand the VPRC's parking lot to accommodate so that they can accommodate more of their parking. And then, the museum lot, we're looking at maintaining the exact number. The existing number is 31 parking stalls. We're looking at how can we enhance it. I think the most we can squeeze out is 35. But to make that more attractive in usage as well.
Okay, yeah, and I guess to my point, that is just there will be opportunities to reevaluate as we go here if this for some reason turns into a disaster, which I wouldn't foresee, or to make some shorter-term parking spots when there's more longer-term parking spots available. So, I don't know, I don't have any additional comments or questions.
Question. How long is this project with the new building going to take? Do we know kind of a ballpark area?
The union?
Yeah.
I anticipate 24 months for construction.
Okay. Would we be able to change it to 3-hour parking on the west side from this time to this time, then upon reevaluation? Or is that not something that would be permitted? To put an expiration date on this and then reevaluate?
You just have to bring it up at our commission.
Bring it
here.
up again. I mean,
The recommendation can go to the board with a sunset clause, that it's only in effect for so long, and then it would have to come out without reconsideration. We've done that with some other ordinances. But any ordinance that is passed can always just be a recommendation to change the ordinance at any time in the future as well. So
Okay.
it'd be the same motion that this is going through would be to change it in the future as well, or sunset clauses could be put in that ordinance is in effect for, say, 24 months or 2 years or a set date in the future.
I'm sure that there's a reason for this that I'm not seeing it right at this moment.
they did it in 2020 during the pandemic.
Yeah, there's,
I believe it started.
I'm a
I believe
I'm a
it
little
was,
miffed with, the 30-minute thing. Where was anyone going?
people get food to go during the
People were like, yeah,
pandemic.
hurt you. They didn't
I
want
think,
people.
yeah. My understanding is from the history is that some of the business units on the
west side of the
The
street?
west side were more in and out businesses at that time versus the east side. And that might have been, I know there were several different topics that have been considered, and I think that was the board's opinion. However, like it said, more brewery, like Pioneer is no longer there, the Eclipse, Dog Eclipse, Cherokee Rose, some of those
Yeah.
businesses are no longer there,
Exactly.
and it will be changing in the future with.
And hopefully
yeah.
new businesses are coming in that want 3-hour parking, maybe. And possibly,
And then I think some of it too was the surrounding area then also has no parking restrictions, that if you are there for employees, those sort of things, should be
Right.
parking.
It's no 24-hour
on
parking.
the side
right.
streets away from the downtown businesses.
yeah, I think the businesses should designate for their employees if they need, if they want spots for their customers, sometimes they tend to tell their employees to park elsewhere anyways.
I think that was the general purpose of the parking down on Park. Back in that time, I do remember when they did put that parking lot along the apartment complexes, they were trying to encourage their employees to park a block away, even though there was concern for their safety walking to and from. But,
Not even.
which I see is a good point, but they're trying to, in order to keep the, to facilitate the parking spaces by the building for their customers.
Okay, well, I mean, who would make a motion?
I'll move to recommend a uniform 3-hour parking time limit along the Villa Avenue Business District in accordance with staff's recommendation. Any seconds?
All right,
I second it.
I'll do a roll call on this one since we're making a recommendation to the board. Commissioner Cuthbertson,
Yes.
Chairperson Gonzalez,
yes,
I'm also a yes.
okay,
Motion carries.
motion carries.
Just for my clarification, I probably should, but
Yeah,
it's to move, the motion would be to move the 30-minute parking to 3-hour, correct?
So the
Correct,
whole-
and leave
the
the
whole-
west side intact?
yes.
Okay, just making sure.
Well, the west side
mean
is,
the east
where-
side
the
is
west
there.
side
East
is,
side, I'm sorry.
Yes,
east side is
intact.
over.
They would all be- they would all be
Move the
30
west side
minutes
to
then.
3
hours.
Yeah.
There's only one business there that's got the purple, which
Uniform,
is
yeah, 3-hour.
15-minute one. I don't know what that location is with the 15-minute.
That's about where the pizza place is.
Is that the
Probably
pizza
people pick
place?
up a pizza and run.
Okay, so
Correct.
15
I
minutes
do
at
know
that.
that was part of the consideration of when they passed that was something the board put in for more of a loading, unloading zone for the
Okay,
pizza, people
okay.
picking up a pizza.
All right. Well, we hope this motion carries for our businesses on Villa Avenue. Okay. Wish to move on? Okay, any chairperson comments? Any? No, I don't have any. I had comments earlier, and I say motion to move on. Any commissioner comments?
I do have one. I just wanted to thank staff for the write-ups that they provided tonight, and then thank the members of the public for coming and speaking on this issue. That's all I have.
Who else? Village Board Liaison comments? Okay. Staff Liaison comments?
I kind of mentioned earlier, I do have 2 comments that we are looking at the Metro lot, or sorry, the museum parking lot. So we have met with the DuPage County to get their initial comments on some proposals, so we do have a few options to present to the Plan Commission for their input. But that will be at the April meeting, as we wanted to meet with the county to make sure any of the options that we present will be acceptable by the county since it is on county land. So that will be coming forward. Timeframe for that one would probably be pushed to the fall or next spring so that we don't overly restrict parking in this area, but knowing that enhancements are planned. The second one is I'm going to check with our HR manager, Dan McCann. Is just remember, I believe OMAR training is, I think, annual for commissions, but I'm going to verify that, so you may just be verifying that everyone has their OMA certificate, Open Meetings Act certificate up to date. And you may, I'll bring this up, I believe because I believe this commission was also added, you may have an economic interest statement from the village, from the county, you may receive that, they do send them out via email. As there's some considerations on this board, so I believe you guys got included, those are usually due, May, so I just, as a gentle reminder, if you have that, to fill those out, because there is penalties that do get associated if those aren't turned back into the county.
Okay.
And that's all I have this evening.
Any motions to adjourn the meeting? Adjournment?
I'll move to adjourn.
Okay. Second?
Sure, I'll second it.
Okay.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Meeting adjourned.